Hello, my beautiful soul family, and welcome to another episode of Unshackled. I'm Jo Draper and I'm your host. And I have something very exciting today because I have the beautiful Mandy and Greg joining me. Welcome, guys.
Hi, how are you?
Hi, Jo.
Well, hello. So Mandy and Greg are here today. We're going to share their journey over the past couple of years. They've taken some huge steps. They have had big dreams and they have followed their dreams. I have worked with them both as individuals, as private clients, and also together as a couple. So we've overcome so many hurdles. We've broken through so many fears. And basically what we're going to do today, guys, is we're just going to share the journey with you. And Mandy and Greg are so generously going to share some of their lessons and their learnings and hopefully some really valuable points that you can take away from this. So before we jump in, I'm just gonna share with you their roles and a bit of a bio. So Greg is an authentic, courageous coach and facilitator, guiding people through an empowering process where we uncover and discover your very own sustainable abundance in the workplace and beyond. And then we've got Mandy, empower, motivator, and trusted advisor by shifting from what is predictable and moving into what is possible and achieving goals that most only dream about. I am able to inspire courage and action within a proven framework that supports those ready to discover their own limitless potential. So beautiful, guys. And what I want to start with is I want to share a little bit of your journey. So I first met Mandy and Greg, I think it was about 4 years ago at a yoga retreat I was running in Bali with a friend. I first met them there, and then we've had this beautiful journey and working relationship and friendship since. And I think it was about 2 years ago, but maybe about 18 months ago, Greg actually reached out to me with this big dream of we want to move out of, the 9-to-5 work and move full-time onto our catamaran. And there was a lot of fears that kind of come up around there, and it's kind of, progressed since then. So guys, do you just want to maybe share a little bit of your journey from moving to, the full-time work, the 9-to-5, to like now living full-time on your catamaran?
Yeah, I'd love to say that when we came and did the yoga retreat, you got us to do this like a health wheel, or and man, our wheel was not very round at all. We were excelling in the workplace, achieving, smashing goals, doing well financially, but our personal wellness and well-being and looking after ourselves, half the wheel was missing. Mm-hmm. So we walked away from it, and it was like we tried to carry on working the way we were working, and it just became more and more obvious that we just didn't have a balance. And so we started asking questions of ourselves and what we were doing. And then the universe plays its hand in mysterious ways. And we had a conversation at work one day that led us to creating a change of direction. We just decided to take a change of direction, and we went away and built a strategy. And part of it was we built this beautiful new home on the waterfront. Loved it. It was just a gorgeous place. And but it didn't completely fill our cup. So it was a bit like Mandy said, well, we've done this, what's next? And we thought, well, we'll sell the property. When the property sells, we'll leave work and we'll go in pursuit of our the dream that we actually put aside and set aside when we decided to develop this property, which was to go sailing full-time. So it was a massive shift, a massive courageous step. And I'd done personal development previously in my life, and I knew that it was important to bring someone along with me on the journey that could help me, someone to hold my hand, if you like. And who better to choose than Jo Draper, because you had given up your full-time job and started chasing your dream, and you were a digital nomad, and it was like, well, you're kind of doing what I want to do. So why don't I reach out? And that's what I did. And it was massive courage. It wasn't an easy conversation. So half of me was asking you and the other half was going, no, 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 no. What are you doing? This is nuts. This is crazy. So that's me. I'll let Mandy add what you want to add to that.
Yeah, Greg covered it off pretty well. I think, we'd gone on the Bali retreat. I knew that I didn't have the balance that I really, truly, really wanted in my life. So we started to make some shifts. I'd done a couple of group programs with you, Joe, and met some amazing women. And we uncovered some really, really exciting stuff for me. It's, I suppose, the unseen. It's like, how could you describe it? Like an iceberg. We have the top of the iceberg we can see, but there's so much underneath. And with your support, and obviously working with a group of inspirational women that were all pretty powered and charged up, wanting to make changes, we started to peel back the onion. So the more I dug deep, the more I was determined. And I've always been pretty determined to live a life less ordinary. But I was just empowered to find my true essence, find my purpose, find my values, see what my drivers were. And yeah, the work that we've done enabled us to take that step and leave that beautiful home and face the fear, because honestly, living on a boat, isn't for everybody. And it does take a lot of courage and commitment and passion and belief in what you're doing.
Yeah, beautiful. And guys, there's a couple of things I want to touch on there. One is, I remember at the Bali retreat when you did the wellness walk, and so interesting this come up because I've just ran a masterclass. So if any of the listeners have done the masterclass, you know exactly what we're talking about. And I remember one of the things that rated really lowly and really quite low in both your wellness wheels was the work-life balance. So yeah, it was really interesting. And then how everything's kind of unfolded. So what I want to share is a part of the journey. So I know one of the things when Greg came to me was, I want to do this, I want to move on to the boat, but there were a lot of fears and a lot of things that were stepping back. And I kind of almost did a little bit of this toing and froing, like, I'm ready to do it, but I'm ready to do it. And anybody who's done any work with me or listens to any of my podcasts or, online content, is I am all about overcoming fears. So this is the thing. And the other thing I want to touch on is, Greg, you mentioned, okay, now I want to live this freedom lifestyle and go live on my boat. Who better than Joe Draper? And the thing is, for anybody that's thinking about becoming a coach or moving into any area that you truly desire, when you're walking the walk, talking the talk, and you're truly embodying it and being authentic to what you want to do, your people will come to you. And it's so interesting because I can't tell you how many clients I've had that want to create a digital nomad style or want to create an online business. And it's like, this is who you will align to. So I think, whereas for other people, living a digital nomad style is completely uninteresting. And, they may even coach with me for other reasons, but it's like your people will align to you. So be authentic to who you are, and these people will come in. So Greg, let's talk about some of the fears. So you came to me as like, I've got this idea. This is what we want to do, but there were these fears coming up. So if you're happy to, would you mind sharing some of the fears that did come up for you?
Yeah, sure. So when I came to you, it's like, sometimes you say what you want to do, but you're not fully committed yet. You've got an intention, but you actually haven't bought completely into it.
Yeah.
So I turned up, and that's the space I was in. It's like, we've got this plan, here's this idea, and I needed someone to help me enter that space and I guess come out the other side or walk me through it. And there was a couple of occasions during our coaching in the earlier stages where I said to you, nah, we can't do it. Like, it's not going to work. And I had all the reasons, and you didn't buy it. Like, you said, no, Greg. It's like, no, I'm not getting the essence of your communication. And anyone that knows what I'm saying there is, what I was saying was not what I was feeling, if you like. I was in my head, not in my heart. So I was intellectualizing it. And for me, what I discovered during our coaching was my security came from having a sensible, normal job. I wanted that good income, and I felt safe. I felt comfortable. And that was the social norm, and I was accepted by, most people. So identifying those things and then starting to chip away at it. And a couple of times I'd said to you, no, I'm not doing this. Can't do it. Can't make it work. Financially can't make it work. And it's like, well, is it about the money? Like, or is it about you fulfilling your dream? Or do you need to worry about that right now? It's like you kept taking me back to the first few steps, or the first few months, or going back to what it was I laid out at the beginning. And it's like, well, what's happened to all of this stuff? And it's like, oh damn, okay then. Like, so we just peel back the layers, and excuse me a minute, having an emotional moment, because it was raw.
Yeah,
it was really raw. So it was true.
Greg, thank you so much for sharing, and also for being really vulnerable and just showing up and telling us exactly how you're feeling. I think this is really powerful. And this is the thing, guys, you've heard me talk about this before when it comes to fear. And this is the thing, we get into our headspace and we try to break it down, but it's like, what is the body saying? What is the heart space saying? What is my gut telling me? And what happens in these situations is we have this big dream, or this dream, and then we start to get it, and then we energetically block it from the universe. So it's like, I've asked for this and now it's happening, and well, now I'm scared. I'm going to get in my head about it, and I'm going to say all the reasons why I shouldn't do it, because this is the fear. You guys have heard me refer to this as before. It's like the finger monkey that latches on. No, this is all the reasons why we shouldn't do it. You shouldn't do it. I want to stay where's comfortable. I want to stay where's predictable, what is known. And this little voice is so freaking convincing, right? So this was a huge part of the work that Greg and I did together initially, was like, is this fiction or is this fact? Like, is this, and what do you truly want in the bottom of your heart? What do you want? So stop blocking it. Stop letting the finger monkey take over and latch on, and let's get clear. And, something I often ask my clients is, tell me your fear. What is it? And can you prove that in a court of law? Like, even you use the financial example, Greg, like, oh, I don't know if we'll be okay financially. Is that actual fact? And when we broke it down, a lot of the time it wasn't. So thank you so much for sharing that. I think this is, such valuable lessons for people listening into this podcast. And Mandy, I'd love to talk a little bit about your journey. So I remember right at the start, we were doing this work and we were breaking down, okay, like, we're leaving our full-time jobs, we're going to live full-time on the catamaran, and we're brainstorming all of these ideas. And something that had come up really strongly for Greg was coaching. Mandy had a lot of ideas we were throwing around. And I remember this day, it was just so valuable. And we're kind of pushing, like, we're getting into time blocking and doing this and all these actionables. And Mandy was like, hang on, do you know what I want? I want a bit of breathing space. I've just been working really hard. And this is the thing, when we can get the balance thing, right? So we had the will, this is where we rated quite lowly. And then we're like transitioning from one thing to the next, and we're putting all this pressure on us. And that day it was just like this aha moment. Hang on, right now, let's just take a breather. So Mandy, do you want to share a little bit around that and what was going on there for you?
So I think that's social conditioning. I was brought up to work hard, and that means working long hours, doing whatever it takes to get the job done. And that's valued by society. I was exhausted, Joe. We worked long hours. We could work 10, 12-hour days. We were doing the right thing by people. We were meeting their needs. We were solving problems. We were making dreams come true, people. We worked in an environment. That's what we did. And it was that aha moment. I said to you, I just need some space. I need some Mandy time. And I think you helped me discover that there are rituals and there are things that we can do to nurture ourselves, which have now become part of my everyday life. But I hadn't been doing that. So, the big shifts for me was the inner child work. That was just, it was mind-blowing, Joe. I'm now reparenting myself, and I think I'll be my parent for the work that I need to do. And that's no criticism of my parents at all. It's just the fact that society and social norms, I was brought up to be a good girl. And I think a lot of women out there are going to relate to that. And what does a good girl mean? Doing as you're told, being quiet, not having a voice. It was pretty much expected of us as young girls, and being good girls. What does that mean? Does that mean not having a voice, not being able to say no, not being in control of our own bodies? So there was so many shifts, Joe, so many shifts around owning my own space, having some quiet time, being able to put that into my life as a norm, and it is now, and organically letting my true purpose shine. And it has. We worked on what was my purpose, and for many people that's a big question. What is my purpose? I don't know. But it came to me, and I knew that it would organically come out, and I would trust the universe that the right things would come at the right time and the right people would show up, like you just spoke about. And they did. The first 6 months, we earned a great income without actually going out and looking for this income. It just turned up on our doorstep. People said, "Hey, Mandy and Greg, you're really experienced in this area. Can you help us, please?" And we said, "Hey, yeah, love to." And that created an income. And then the next door opened.
Yeah, and let's talk into this a little bit as well, because I know one of the things I really noticed, working with you guys, is sometimes we can get so attached to something, and it's like we're like putting all our force and our energy into it. It's like we're holding on to this rope, and we're holding on so tight, we're actually struggling it. We're strangling it. And I myself have been there, so I can totally relate to this. And I see, the difference in my clients. And one thing that we did really well together, all three of us, was like just stepping into this flow and this grace and this trust. And I know that we will be looked after. I know that we'll be provided for. And by doing this and doing the inner work, it's like having these goals and working towards them. But all of a sudden, these opportunities were just popping out of the woodworks. Like, I cannot believe opportunities to do work in these time blocks, opportunities for coaching, opportunities. Okay, let's share this story. So we've bought this catamaran and we're living on the catamaran. And then you end up buying this eco camper and then end up selling eco campers as another income stream. Tell us about that.
That was just, again, organic. So we had a friend or colleague, actually, we worked with, and he saw what we were doing, and he saw that we'd taken this huge leap of faith, left these well-paid careers that we had. I was 15 years in the industry, so it takes a lot of courage to walk away from that. And he really saw something in us that he was attracted to. We were a bit like a flame and he was a moth. And he said, "Look, we need to catch up socially," which we did. He'd built this amazing Volkswagen camper van, and he wanted some feedback. He said, "Please take it away. I want you to appraise it, because this is your area of expertise. You've worked in this industry. I just want to know what you like about it, what you don't." Well, we basically went off. He insisted we do at least, a week, nothing like a day or two. He wanted us to absorb it and really feel it, which we did. We had a ball. And we had a ball so much that when we came back, Greg and I thought, this was not in the picture, this wasn't in the plan, but actually we want one of these. This is just going to complement our lifestyle on the boat and on the road. Land and sea adventures, that's us. Let's share that. So, over a period of months, we went from just taking it for a drive and doing an appraisal on it, a few videos, to now we're the proud owners of it. And now we inspire other people. And obviously we got great sales skills, because again, that's just some of the skills that we've honed and developed over the years. We're able to be consultative with people and help them discover what they want. And for the right people, the eco camper is the right fit. So we've just attracted those people. So yeah, that came out of the woodwork. That wasn't on the master plan.
And I remember there must have been this period of about a month. And I feel like every few days they're messaging me saying, "Joe, we've got this offer. We've got this offer." I'm like, what is happening? This is so incredible. And it was, you guys were just in flow. You were doing what you were meant to be doing. You were following your hearts, and everything just starts coming together. It is such an incredible journey. Greg, I want to share. So, you initially came to me. One of the big things were to get the courage to move into this full-time lifestyle of living on the sea, getting some clarity, some purpose, direction, and what was next. And one of the things that I think we really need to speak into was this kind of byproduct of doing all the work, and this was the weight loss journey. So would you love to share a little bit about that story?
Yeah, and I need to start right at the beginning when we had our initial meeting and you were asking me what did I want out of this coaching journey. And there was one other thing, but I wasn't going to talk about it. But for some reason, you kept asking the question, is there anything else? Is there anything else? You sure? Like, is there anything else? And I'm like, crap. Okay, I'll say it, but I put a whole lot of conditions on it. And I said to you that, my weight was a challenge, and I'd done enough personal development work that it was like I knew it needed to be an inner journey, and it wasn't about going on diets and punishing yourself. And I'd been down the track of having the crash diet and going to the gym and doing the 12-week program and getting the results and then undoing all the results. So I said to you, I'd like to lose some weight, and but I don't want it to be a painful journey like I saw my mum go through. This fight, this battle, and we spoke about what weight I was, I believe, and what weight I'd like to be. And you said, "Oh, that's easy. That's no problem." And I'm like, "Yeah, right. Like, what do you know about this, really?" And I mean, it was the beginning of the journey, and I didn't know what you knew. So a month went by, and I think I was, can I remember the weight? 97 kilos or something, and a month went by, and it's like nothing changed. I might have gone up a bit, and you said to me, "Okay, I need you to give me a food diary." So I did that as openly, as honestly as I possibly could, and it was like, there's a lot of bread in your diet, there's a lot of carbs. Okay, well, we'll remove that, and I want you to eat an egg for breakfast every day, or an omelette, a protein-based breakfast, and then you'll find you'll sustain yourself through to lunch. And we talked about adding exercise, and I really wasn't interested in exercise. It didn't inspire me. So the goal was to walk 5Ks a day. So it was really, you only picked on a couple of things, a couple of small things. So after, a month later, it was like I implemented and got myself up to 5Ks a day, was following a new food regime, and it was not a diet. It was just a change of eating. You got me to remove gluten out of my diet. Did that for a month. I was losing 1 kilo a week, and then reintroduced it, and felt it, like what an impact it had. So it was an easy choice for me to circumnavigate gluten, because it was how I felt. But and when we just went down this path where I was just losing 1 kilo a week, and what did I do? I went from, it wasn't 97, it was 107. And by the time we finished our coaching, I'd got myself down to 90. So it was over, not 18 months, but let's say 12 months, I'd managed to shed that much weight. And it really wasn't that hard. It was by just making a couple of simple choices. You gave me exactly what I asked for. And I asked for it not thinking you could deliver it necessarily. I must have had some belief out there that it could be done. Otherwise, I wouldn't have asked. I knew it was an inner job, and we did the inner job. But it was like, it was almost stealth-like, and I don't mean in a sneaky way. It was done on the side, and it was a byproduct that gave me the biggest emotional lift. Put the spring in my step. Gave me a lot more confidence, a lot more courage. yeah, like it was just magic.
And one of the really big things around this is because I know we had conversations, and in the past you tried different things, and you may have lost the weight for a period of time, and then eventually it comes back on, and we had lots of conversations around this. And so first, let's just share with everybody that the weight has completely stayed off. Greg is still looking amazing. But the other thing is, there's one thing of like, okay, removing certain things from our diet, eating healthy and exercising, and that is a part of it. But what was so prevalent was the mindset shifts. And a big part of the work we did together was rewiring our brain. And often we see, being healthy, going to the gym, exercising, making healthy choices, we perceive it as painful. We don't enjoy it. But when we can shift our mindset to think differently about it, it creates a different feeling in the body. And I remember, Greg, you saying to me, like, I don't know what is happening. This feels easy. And because it wasn't just about the meal plan and the exercising, it was about the deeper mindset shifts and getting really clear, like, what are my current perceptions around food, exercise, nutrition? And then how do I shift those thought patterns into something that's empowering so it feels good? And I think this is what I love about this journey so much, is you can apply this to anything. It doesn't, if you're trying to quit smoking or drink less or lose weight or you become more confident, it's all about just changing the way we think about it, which creates a different feeling and, a completely different outcome.
Yeah, and I was eating my anxiety. As when anxiety came up,
Yes.
I had certain behaviors. So, like you say, we rewired my brain. It took me back, and yeah, made changes, made shifts, and they've stuck. You're right, they've absolutely stuck.
Yeah. Beautiful. Guys, I'd love to share a little bit as well. So I coached with Greg initially, and then I started coaching with both of you together. And you're like, we want to do a bit of, work on our communication and relationship and this sort of thing. And, I was like, right, first thing what we're doing is we're doing the work separately. And you're a little bit like, no, Joe, I think you misunderstood us or something. We want to do some work together. I was like, yep, I heard you. I love how much you guys are laughing. But no, we're doing the work separately. So do you want to share just a little bit about your journey and like doing the personal development work as individuals and together, and how this has played out for you and worked for you and benefited your relationship?
Yeah, I think number one, doing the inner work, that you held our hand, we had to peel back the onion. So as I mentioned before, the inner child work, the self-limiting beliefs, the fears, getting clear on the purpose and our values, who we were. So taking us on our own journey was so valuable. Understanding the triggers, why I would get upset. And I learned quite quickly it was the inner child that was upset. So learning to go and soothe and actually do the work myself, not looking to Greg to make it right or better. And Greg understood this process because he was going through a similar process. So if I was starting to feel emotional about something, I could take myself away without feeling guilty, spend some time to reflect, ask little Mandy how she was feeling, what had triggered her, what did she need, what could I do to help? And I would action that, take my deep breaths. My breath work and my yoga has just been my core strength. So going back to that, realigning myself, coming back to a situation, owning possibly some of the behaviors that I'd, displayed, or actually speaking up for my inner child and saying, she didn't actually like that tone, or she didn't quite like that response, but this is what she would like. And he understood that journey because he was going through it. Now, if we didn't do that journey together, you can see how possibly you could grow apart, because somebody might not understand the changes and the shifts you are making. You actually do change. So we were really lucky that you were prepared to work individually with us, and we would do all this work, but then you'd bring us back together, and then we had an opportunity to share some of the challenges. And that takes some courage, because you're bringing out, you call it the dirty laundry, but you're going to be frank about it. You're going to say, this triggers me, that triggers me. So for me, it was really about owning my stuff, also realizing what triggers Greg and what some of his behaviors were and how he would need to protect himself. And it wasn't necessarily about me, it was his stuff. And that's okay. I could be there and let him know I could support him. And look, this is ongoing, Joe. You know, we've been together, I think we've been together 18 years. So, you know, we've been together a long time, but I still feel that every day we both are putting our best foot forward, and we're both more aware of when triggers get triggered and when sometimes our behavior is stress related. So understanding the makeup of each other, you know, how we function, what stresses us, what makes us happy, what our needs are, how we can have our needs met, how we can be clear with each other. So for me, it's so many things on so many different levels, and it's continual. We're still doing the work, Joe, and I don't think we'll ever stop doing the work. I think it's just a continual journey of self-discovery, and we will go deeper and deeper and uncover and discover more and more about each other and ourselves.
Yeah.
As we enjoy this journey together.
Yeah, and that's the thing, isn't it? It's a, you know, a lifetime of growth and evolution. Absolutely. And sorry, Greg, did you want to add something to that as well?
Yeah, it was you partnered us, and it was a bit like going off with a torch on a dark night. Well, not even a dark night. It was just shining. It wasn't a dark night. It was shining the light into the dark corners. The stuff that we don't want to talk about, you know. We went on this lovely coaching journey. There was stuff that I wasn't going to bring to the table or talk about, or I'd spent a lifetime hiding it, you know. And you took me on an important journey, a meditation that took me back to school, and the revelation I had was school taught me how to hide stuff, you know. So it became habitual. So that was a habit of a lifetime. So I have a challenge around being mildly dyslexic. So I hide it. I don't talk about it. I don't reveal it. You know, it was all about hiding it. And the school system didn't deal with the issue. It was never identified. Like I identified it when I was in my late 30s. I knew I had an issue. Through doing some personal development work, I went off to what they call SPELLed, which is they deal with specific learning disorders, and you know, an assessment was done, and I was presented with some information, and they said, you know, for every deficit there's a gift as well, you know. So it was really lovely. It was a lovely journey. I was paired up with a tutor, and I tutored for several years, and she just taught me different ways of learning stuff and how to cope, and she coached me. But you taking me back to the school system and me realizing that all I'd been taught to do was how to hide stuff, and how sophisticated that was. And our coaching just kept revealing stuff and uncovering stuff. And if there's some behavior that's not great, I know how to go. I know how to assess my own self and figure it out, and then have the courage to say to Mandy what it was, what my fear was. And it's the inner child work.
Yeah, and that's a really beautiful point as well. It's like, you know, often growing up in schooling, as we were taught to believe that the wrong answer is wrong, but actually the wrong answer is right, because what this does is it teaches us how to learn. Okay, I didn't get the answer correct, but what skills am I going to develop to understand, to get the new answers? So yeah, this is and the trouble is, this is deep in our conditioning from childhood, and we carry these belief systems as we come into adulthood, or, you know, we're very well and truly into our adult life, but we carry these belief systems. So yeah, some really, really beautiful work that you guys did there. The other thing I just want to add as well is, especially with the inner child work, I know, Mandy, you were talking about it just before, and everybody goes at different levels, right? And there was never any right or wrong answer. Some people jump into the work so quickly, and some people take a lot longer, and there is absolutely no right or wrong in this. But when we do just like fully delve in, and I know, like, when I gave Mandy inner child work, she jumped in and did it and had massive shifts really quickly. So it was like just being fully ready. And again, there's no right or wrong in this, but it's like, it's just the perfect analogy for life. Do you know, if we truly want to shift something, how deep are we willing to dive in? Are we ready to like pull back the layers and exactly shine the torch in our shadow, see the things we don't like about ourselves? And this is something you guys both did really well, is this willingness to like bring our shit to the table. Do you know what I mean? Like bring these things that we don't like about ourselves, these things that we don't want people to see about ourselves, which we all have. And it's like, this is the shadow work. Let's just shine the light on the parts we don't like about ourselves, and understand that it's part of ourselves, and love ourselves and show up for ourselves anyway. So thanks so much for sharing that. I'm sure many listeners will really get a lot out of that. So guys, I want to ask you, if you just to share with anybody that's listening, anybody that's thinking about, has these big dreams and want to chase their dreams, what advice would you give to them?
The first thing is, write it down. Dream big, write it down, share it, speak about it, speak to it, look at it every morning. You need help. We all need help. If we just keep it to ourselves, we can't fail, can we? Because nobody knows. But by putting it out there, people will hold you accountable. But not just that, you will attract the right people into your life. And we have, we thought about that today. We have amazing people that keep showing up. People that we don't even know that, for example, we took on the catamaran because they were thinking of buying a boat. What an amazing relationship we now have with these people that we never knew before, but we opened our hearts, we opened our home and said, hey, come on our boat, come and experience what we're experiencing. So don't be afraid to ask for help. Reach out. We just love supporting people make their dreams come true. So we've got our own little Facebook group, Mandy and Greg's Land and Sea Adventures. So reach out, talk to us, share what you're doing, be part of that group, and go and get some help. We're stronger as a team, much stronger than it is an individual. So that would be my advice. Reach out, be honest, write your goals down, and be courageous. Feel the fear and do it anyway, because you don't want to live to regret that you didn't do it, because life goes by pretty quickly.
And I guess what I would add to it is that invest in yourself. I had a really progressive boss for a short time in a job that I had, and he encouraged me to take on something I needed to strengthen or something to learn. It was like, I'll give you some time off work, we'll fund it, identify something you want to do, and develop yourself. And this is long story short, this is how I ended up at Spelled, because I needed to own my own shit and bring it to the table, and it was, no, I've got a bit of a challenge here. So off I went, and during work time I was able to go off and be tutored for an hour. How generous, but what they gained was far more than what it cost. So when he left, it was like, it was gut-wrenching, but I carried that habit on. And so for me, engaging you to be my coach, it wasn't hard, because I had a habit of a lifetime of investing in myself. So I invested in that next stage of the journey, and we lined up all those fears, and we faced them together. I didn't have to do it on my own. You don't have to chase your dream on your own. You don't have to do it on your own. If you want to be in the Olympics and you want to perform at that level, you're never going to get there without a coach. You're never going to get there without some help. And you might have more than one coach, because there's different areas that you're tackling. I wanted to be a high performer, so I reached out. And I guess the other, no, I'll leave that. But as far as chasing your dream, that's what I'd add to it. Is invest in yourself and find some people, and it's not people that'll say yes, or it's people, someone like Joe, who will challenge you, who will challenge your belief system.
Ask the hard questions.
Yeah.
Yeah. Look, guys, thank you so much for sharing that. It's been an absolute pleasure speaking with you. If people want to follow your journey, Mandy, you mentioned the Facebook group. Just sorry, say that again?
So we have an Instagram and a Facebook group, and it's Mandy and Greg's Land and Sea Adventures.
Awesome. And I'll pop the links below in the bio as well. So if anybody wants to follow along with them. But guys, thank you so much for being here today. It's been an absolute pleasure. I've loved these conversations. And I love seeing you continue to grow and expand and just following your journey as well.
Oh, well, thank you, Jo. We wouldn't be where we are today if you weren't in our corner.
And it was, the biggest value for me would have been around us doing the values process, and me identifying what my values were, and Mandy the same, and then owning my purpose was another massive challenge. And I fought with that one, as you know, because it was like, no, that's not me. I'm not good enough. I'm not perfect. I'm not there yet. Not possible. No, I'm just in love with the idea, but in actual fact, I got there in the end, and then this job offer turned up for us doing facilitating and coaching, and it's like, well, that's what my purpose is. Like, it's just magic. The universe is just incredible, really.
It is, and I really, there was a huge shift there as well, because I remember we'd played around with this idea of coaching for a while, and there were massive blocks there, right? So like some self-sabotaging, like not believing in self, all the fears. This was a thing. And then I remember the day there was like this clear, like we drew the line in the sand, and we're like, no, we're claiming it. This is what I want. This is what I want to bring in. And it was like, once you fully claimed it, and then next thing, these offers are just coming in. Like, it is crazy the way that it works.
Yeah, and it was claiming it with such clarity that the universe would play its hand.
Yeah.
And it was part of, you did a mini workshop, if you like, or there was a small group, and it was like these other people were claiming their stuff and going off and doing it, and I was like, I'm getting left behind here. It's like, I want to do that.
Yeah.
Like, but I need to say it if I want to do it. They don't, unless I speak about it, they don't know. So it was like I uttered the words one day, and the rest just, I put the rest behind me.
Beautiful. Guys, thanks again for being here. It's been such an absolute pleasure. So many gold nuggets I'm sure people will take away. All the best on your journey. And I continue to look forward to following you. So much love.
Thank you. Bye,
Thank you.
Jo. Bye, everybody.
Bye.